Good morning, my name is Mideya Saralidze. I study interns from Vilinas School number 1. I would like to present my research work, The Equivalence of Nouns in Ernest Hemingway's novel The Old Man and the Sea, and the ways of their translation in Russian language. The purpose of this work is to investigate the translation of nouns in the novel of Ernest Hemingway to show what structural models of the nouns are used by the translation in their translation. The first aim of this investigation is to tell what the noun is and how the other use it. The second aim is to show methods and ways of translating various proper names. The third aim of the research work is to show how the translations use Russian equivalents of structural models of the noun in the novel of Ernest Hemingway, The Old Man and the Sea. I have said this aim because of a superficial translation. The reader cannot see what is written between the lines. This work consists of 3 chapters. The first chapter is a description of grammatical and sentimental categories of English nouns and the means of their translation. In the second chapter, we get to know about the methods and ways of translating various proper names. And in the third chapter, the analysis of the translation equivalence is carried out. The analysis is carried out of the material of Ernest Hemingway's novel, The Old Man and the Sea, and its translation. The novelty of this work is different equivalents of the nouns. The method of this paper is to carry out the analysis of theoretical questions. The structure of this research is the investigation of grammatical and sentimental categories. This work is provided with a lot of examples. In this research is gathered information about 9 foreign grammar books and comparative analysis of its Russian translation is given. We should pay attention to difference in translations of Russian language, so let's start. The first chapter is grammatical and sentimental categories of English noun and means of their translation. In this chapter, I will tell about the noun and how the grammatical 3 categories. The nouns is a word expressing substance in the widest sense. The noun has the following morphological characteristics. Nouns that can have 2 numbers, signal and verb. Nouns denoting living beings have 2 cases forms, the common case and given case. The noun has certain syntactic characteristics. The morphological composition of nouns. According to their morphological composition, we distinguish simple, directive, and composite nouns. Simple nouns are nouns which have neither prefix or suffix. They are indecomposable, table, room, work. Derivative nouns are nouns which have derivative elements. Sailor, childhood, blackness. When a noun has 2 or more parts, we call it a component noun. We can make component nouns with the uniform. According to their categorical, semantic nouns are classified in the proper nouns, Peter, Moscow, fabric, oven nouns, man, dog, book, class and shop, nouns of material, iron, collective nouns, police, abstract nouns, kidness, sadness. So after a summary review of a noun, I would like to tell you my research work. Chapter 2. Methods and ways of translation various proper names. Far from all Russian proper names can be conveyed by way of literal translation. However, this is because some of our vowels and consonants have no equivalent sounds. Foreigners in English and must be substituted of approximately similar sounds. Among the Russian sounds and sound combination are first of all those ones which are rendered with the help of the letters or letter combination or parts sounds the letters C, Sh, J and consonants. One of the ways to explore this internationally was the adoption of the romanization system, which family names and also on Russian geographical names, inaccurate with some rules. Chapter 3. Translation equivalents in Russian language in Ernest Hemingway's novel The Old Man and the Sea. A genital survivor of the noun selected from the English text The Old Man and the Sea. Among the nouns that I selected from the English text, there are names of concept, object, and abstraction and synonyms. I will show how the Russian translators of Galusheva and Zakov translate nouns in the Ernest Hemingway's novel The Old Man and the Sea. In this short novel, The Old Man and the Sea, Ernest Hemingway writes, "Yes, the boy said, can I offer you a beer on the terrace and then we'll take the stuff home." Голышева and Заков translate, "Конечно, хочешь, я угощу тебя пивом на террасе, а потом мы отнесем домой снасти." The noun stuff has the meaning вещи, вещество. The translation decided to use the equivalence снасти because it sounds better. My conclusion is that in the first place sometimes the translation have particularly that some translation, in the second place they use very different nouns, and in the third place sometimes they use zero translation. In the translation of Ernest Hemingway's short novel The Old Man and the Sea, we can admit four groups of nouns. The first group is just equivalence. The second group is without direct equivalence when the translation is absent. The third group is the nouns which are close in meaning of Russia. Noun is, however, that the English noun. The first group includes the script translation. The first group equivalent nouns in English and Russian. He was too simple to wonder when he had attacked humility. Он был слишком простодушен, чтобы задуматься о том, когда пришло к нему смирение. The second group absence of an equivalent word. What do you have to eat? The boy asked. Что у тебя на ужин? Спросил мальчик. The third group translation by means of symmetry close word. You Steve is excellent, the old man said. Вкусное мясо, похвалил старик. Black beans and rice, fried bananas and some stew. Черные бобы с рисом, жареные бананы и тушеную говядину. The fourth group described translation. Maybe today. Может, сегодня счастье мне улыбнется. That makes no difference, he thought. Невелика беда, подумал он. My conclusion is that first, the translation have practically the same translation, and second, they use very different nouns, and at third, they use zero translation and sometimes discrete translation. This research can be used as a material to teach students, pupils in grammatical and mathematical categories of English nouns. The theoretical significance of this paper is to help students, pupils with grammar in practical translation and in forget literacy. The practical significance of this research is to help in further activity of translation. Thank you for your attention.